Hey there. Good morning. I almost said Vietnam. Good morning, Springfield. Oh, good morning. It's been quite a. Yesterday was my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
Thank you. And it turned out to be really nice.
Good. What'd you get for your birthday?
I got a $25 gift certificate to getting ice cream at Andy's.
Whoa, that's always good.
So that's like what, one ice cream? Two ice creams.
Yeah, it got to be pretty
I like
$15.
But it's
hey,
really
it was
good.
But
Yeah.
it was worth it. I'm telling you.
I like the James Brownie Funky Jack.
That's exactly what I had.
I get mine with chocolate.
She said, "Are you in a chocolate mood?" Well, that's a thick, that's chocolate, definitely.
I've not had that one.
Oh,
No,
it's like
it sounds
brownies.
good.
It's brownies and chocolate chips and.
Oh,
It's
wow.
got hot fudge down through the center of it. They whirl it. Oh, it's so
I
good.
love chocolate.
And I
So
get
Well, then you'd love that.
I probably
I
would.
get mine with the chocolate custard. Anyway, sorry.
No. I did that on purpose, so you're good. But yeah, yesterday was a lot of fun. I was supposed to be here. I wanted to celebrate my birthday with my brothers, but meaning Matt and Jay, but I just couldn't get here.
That's all right. Hey, life happens.
I had some doctor's appointments, which I had to reschedule. But
on your birthday.
Yeah, I know. One was a heart doctor, and so, but things are good.
That's good.
They said that if it was a big emergency or if anything really, they would have called me and said we need to reschedule, so I can reschedule on my own whenever. So it's not a big deal.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, thank goodness. No more surgeries for me.
Oh, man.
Just call me the Bionic Man.
Oh, wow.
That's nuts how many surgeries you
Yeah,
have.
that my poor nose from all the COVID tests. My nose is going, no
man.
more.
I still have flashbacks for mine when I had COVID.
Oh man, I had COVID, and I will never forget that.
Right.
It was anyway.
Wasn't fun.
No, it wasn't. So I really enjoyed yesterday, and so a friend of mine actually sent this $25 to me, and through electronically, and whoa, that's a nice surprise.
Right. A birthday surprise.
Yeah, it was. And she used to be a friend of mine. Well, she is a friend of mine, but she used to be a cheerleader. Okay. And she just had her left hip replaced like I did mine. So her and I have been talking every day, checking in and
kind of support each other.
Yep. So anyway, we've got a lot to talk about. Folks, we're going to try to go through this as much as possible, and I think we're going to be okay. Anyway, thank you, Springfield, for joining. It's going to be a beautiful day. We're talking upper 80s and sunny all day. And it was a nice birthday yesterday. It was nice and warm.
Right.
I've had cool birthdays and
in July.
Yeah, like 75, and it's like a little dreary here and there. It's like, man, I need to have a nice hot summer day.
Right.
When
it's
I was
a summer birthday.
Like I was when I was a kid. So, but anyway, we're going to get to a really neat story. And this is Gayla Prewitt, correct?
Yes, Gayla
Prewitt. And she is a producer, writer. And man, what a story. We're going to get into Glimmer. And just, I call it like shimmer because it can be it's a shimmering type story.
I like that. I hadn't thought of that. I like that.
So Glimmer, but how would you say it? The glimmer? Where'd that come from anyway?
I just kind of like get a glimmer of what could be.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You can get a glimmer of what to be while shivering and shimmering. Oh boy, so anyway, we're going to get into a story that she wrote, and it's almost like a screenplay too, correct?
Actually, it was a screenplay first, and that's more probably my background because I was a news reporter, so I write more thinking visuals of you would see the story also with the visuals. So I'm not a real descriptive writer, I don't think. And also it's a very short novel, but it was a screenplay first, and it's gotten some recognition. And so then I adapted the screenplay into a short novel.
Oh, okay. So it's sometimes I see that where like musicals that you see in New York are based on movies,
Right.
and some of them should just be left alone.
Right. Right.
Like Shrek, well, okay, Shrek was a musical,
Right. The Disney one
the Disney,
was.
and
Yes.
then there was a lot of these other movies that were taken off, and I'm like, why are you making a musical in New York
Right.
about this?
Right. I think you would have to do a lot of adaptation to make the story still, a
Right,
good entertaining story.
right. So your background, you're a news reporter in Joplin. You worked out of the Joplin Bureau.
Yes, I worked for KOAM TV, which is the Pittsburgh Joplin station, and that was many years ago. It was my first job out of college, and I was a weekday reporter, and for a time I was also the weekend anchor. So I enjoyed that. And then we moved from the area. I did some other things before we left, but then we moved from the area, and we live in Bolivar now, and so haven't done that for quite a while. But I also was an adjunct instructor at Southwest Baptist University for several years.
Yay!
Yeah.
A friend of mine's brother is a pastor. Out there at the church, the Baptist church,
Okay.
and I think I don't know if he was actually a professor, but I know that's where he went to school.
Okay.
And now he's a pastor, and she and her husband come out and visit. And I said, Branson's not that far away.
That's right. You can come on down.
Because I used to work with her at the church up there as a youth director.
Okay.
So,
Oh, neat.
so she was a youth director. I was kind of like assisting her and teaching. But anyway, her and her husband are great people.
Do you know what church that was?
You mean
We
which?
have a lot.
Oh no,
which is good.
What's the biggest? I guess it's the Baptist church right there in Bolivar, or just outside Bolivar.
Okay.
Um,
we have like Wellspring. We have the First Baptist Church. Maybe that's what you're talking about.
First
Yes.
Baptist.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I might know them. I don't know.
and now I can't remember their name.
Oh,
But
that's
anyway.
fine. I'm very bad at names too, so I understand.
Oh, anyway, so you're a news reporter. So is that where it got you the inspiration for writing?
Well, of course, I guess I would look at that as a storyteller. I've always liked stories, and I've always had a big imagination. And actually, I did get into the news business because I wanted to make a difference.
Mhm.
And at that time, like I said, this is many years ago, I really thought that people, and I still think that, but we need information, especially to keep a society free. You need fair, truthful, accurate information, and you need to hear both sides of a story. And reporters aren't supposed to be telling people what to think, but giving them the information, and then people can do more research. So yes, I entered that because I wanted to give people information. And but I did leave that profession, and then I worked in an education place, and I thought about doing a documentary on some of the issues. I always like issues, I guess, to write about,
Mhm.
but there were so many good ones out there. I felt like I really couldn't add anything new, so I started thinking about writing a screenplay, and I felt like that was a way to kind of bring people into the story. And I feel like we really, in this culture, and probably all over the world, obviously, relate to story. And I mean, Jesus told stories to get us, and we remember those stories because it brings out emotions and
Right.
things like that.
Yeah, back then I don't think he had to do much research.
No, he knew. Well, he still does. He knew everything, and he still does. So,
Yeah,
and not to compare my stories to Jesus' parables.
I hope not.
No. But I mean, if our Creator knows
Mhm.
how important story is,
Like parables.
yes, exactly.
And so you're just taking it from an earthly standpoint of research and development,
Right.
and then going into a screenplay. Now, sometimes it's usually the other way around. Sometimes it's a novel made into a screenplay.
Right.
And I've seen that where novels have actually turned into a movie.
Right.
And most of the time they're really good. I'm trying to remember Star Wars. I think that was
he
a book.
has a lot of books, yes, I think, and I don't know which came first though, but I know he has, because my boys are really into Star Wars, and they're like, that's not lore, Mom, when they watch things, so they know all the backstories and everything. So, but yes, typically you would go from a novel to a screenplay, and that was not me. And then I had
That's
also
okay.
Well, good. I hope it's all right.
No. It's fine because I've seen people do it. In fact, doctor friend of mine who wrote a story, a true story, about Connie Franklin, and he was what they called him the ghost person in the Ozarks or something. Anyway, it's a really. I'll talk to you about that later. But
Okay.
she did the same thing. She actually made this. She took how many years developing this? Quite a few years, and she finally put this like screenplay involved in a novel to where it was based on a true story.
Right.
And so she did the same thing. She did a lot of research,
Right.
and she did the same thing you're doing.
Well, it's a way to get the story out there while you're trying to produce a film because that's a big project and which I feel like is really beyond me, but I'm learning things and I feel like if it's God will help me if it's meant to happen. So, I'm putting my trust in him. And I feel like he's asked me to do these things. So, um anyway.
Well, just like my life verse, and it's a friend of mine. Her birthday is coming up, but anyway, her life verse and my life verse is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart.
Right.
Lean not on into your own understanding.
Yeah.
Acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. So that's
Yes.
what you're doing. You're putting your trust in God in what you're doing, and He's directing you into the path of writing.
Right. And that's what I feel because I had a very heart-to-heart talk with God several years ago and kind of that thing professionally, what is my path? Should I do this, and this? And I really feel like he spoke to me that this is what I'm supposed to do.
And see, folks, if you do have a dream, if you have a dream of writing, you have a dream of your passion is for writing, screenplay, whether it's novel or you need to listen to, not just the still small voice, which we know is God,
Right.
but listen to Him. And you know what? You could be just like, you can get an award for being a novelist, a writer. Now, novelist and writer, I guess, is the same thing, aren't they?
Well, I'm not an author. I don't know. I'm not exactly for sure on those terms. I mean, you can be a writer and not write novels, I guess. So,
write screenplays and write movies and things like that.
Right, a screenwriter.
Yeah. So, anyway, so we're going to get into this book here. Glimmer is the name of the book, and I guess you've got another book. Is this now? The other book is called Seed Police.
Yes.
Was that the one before Glimmer?
Yes, I wrote Seed Police first, and I don't know if you want to hear all the backstory on what made that happen.
Sure.
Well, I
and
think,
then we'll get into Glimmer.
Okay, and I did bring a copy. I don't know.
Okay, I haven't had a chance to read it, so
that's fine. But that's Seed Police. And actually, it's the one that I really had thought about doing a documentary on. And I mentioned I'm a mother, and I've stayed home mostly. I was very fortunate. I got to be an adjunct instructor, and so it let me still do things professionally and keep up on the technology. But I homeschooled three of our sons, our three sons.
Okay.
Our daughter went to public school. But
lucky her.
Well, we had health issues with our oldest son and
Right.
actually our second son too. And so we had already kind of started on a journey of looking into food because my daughter had some issues as well. And a friend that I worked with at SBU recommended, it was called the Feingold diet. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it was developed in the 60s by a pediatric allergist, and he started doing it first for asthma, and he realized according to him, if you remove like the food dyes, some of the preservatives and things that are all derived from petroleum, which I didn't believe when they first told me that, but I looked it up, and the FDA, you can find it on there because it sounds crazy to me, but like the artificial dyes and things, if you remove those, it helps behavior and learning. So I'd already kind of started on a journey of things aren't what I've always thought. You go to the store, if it's in the store, it's safe. And then two of our boys got horribly sick, and a friend, I'm trying to abbreviate this, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Told us about a doctor in Kansas City who was an environmental specialist and an allergist. And I thought, well, they just have allergies. Well, he did some testing, and which I don't think this is a problem, but he found heavy metals in them. And this is a 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. Yes.
Oh, yeah. I remember you telling me that.
Yes, it was very scary. So we did a lot of searching. Of course, my reporter background, I'm like, I have to get to the bottom of this. And so we discovered at that time that the EPA was asking companies that were making CCA traded lumber. And it's like, I didn't know what CCA stood for, but arsenic is the A, was
That's okay.
asking them to voluntarily recall it. And we had some on a deck, we had some on a swing set. And so
Wow.
just their little hands going down, and they're young. And the doctor told us small children don't detoxify as well.
I was going to say, it gets into your skin.
Yes, it just absorbs through your skin.
Right.
So anyway, so we started on that journey. And so I'm like, well, if now the food thing with the dyes and this, what else is there out there? I'm not going to let my kids go anywhere. Yeah,
exactly. As a mom,
yes,
and you're acting like a mom,
right? The mama bear thing comes out.
Yep.
And so anyway, I started researching genetically modified food, and I just felt like it was kind of taking our freedom away, our choices away. So because some of it, once it contaminates other things, you don't have, there's so many varieties of food and things that are gone now because they've been contaminated. And at this point, there's no way to get that back out. So I just started thinking about, well, and so this is set in the future, and it's like all fiction, but it's kind of exploring that, and a farm family that are Christians. They risk everything to help their neighbors. And so I probably gave you way more than you wanted to hear. But
oh man, no, I don't know if I want to read it now.
well, it's a redeeming story as well.
Oh, good. But no, in fact, just kind of based on that seed story, the seed police, my ministry is called Sporos.
Oh.
Which is Greek for seeds.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow.
And so I'm planting seeds, evangelizing and planting seeds right here in Springfield at Northwest Church.
Okay.
And so as a children's minister.
Oh, wow.
So when you said the seed, when you first told me about the seed police,
right,
I was like, man. And my friend Cindy, I don't know if you're watching, Cindy, but she's the one that helped me come up with the Sporos, and she's like, people keep on dropping seeds in front of you. What are you going to do about it?
Right.
And I'm like, man. So now in the seed plate, when you, okay,
here we
Lord.
go. Okay. What are you trying
Lord.
to tell me? Right.
But
wow.
what mine is not what your story is about in seed plate. So, but everybody has their own version or whatever. I guess God gives you that vision.
Right.
And so I'm anxious to read the story.
Well, and I guess there's a faith message obviously in it too. There's a minister in it, and he's helping them. It all kind of comes together. But for me, if you believe like I do, some of these things are contributing possibly to our health issues.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're supposed to be salt and light. And when my kids were so sick, there was nothing else I could do. I had to concentrate just on them. And I felt like, it was also keeping them from performing the mission or being who God had sent them here to be. And so it's not exactly the same thing, but the children are very important. From Glimmer, I think I told somebody, I'm for all life. I'm for the preborn. I'm from the children when they get here to help try to keep them as healthy. I mean, we live in a broken world, so everything's not going to be perfect. But try to nourish them, because, I mean, God talks a lot about nourishment in them. I mean, he built a garden, and so I feel like some of that is kind of hindering us. So that's kind of where I'm coming from, I guess.
No, I think that's great. That's a lot of information. I did have a few, of course you already told me who you were. What first motivated you to start writing? I guess you already told me that.
Well, I mean, kind of, all the things that were going on. And so, like I said, I thought about doing a documentary, and I felt like there was already a lot about that. And so I felt like this was a different way to engage people, to kind of, do some, because I research quite a bit. So there's tidbits in there too, and then people can maybe ask questions. It'll maybe raise curiosity, and then they can find out for themselves.
Yeah, and we're going to give you that address here on Facebook in a little bit, and you'll want to go on the Facebook and check it out, and get both the Seed Police, and you can get the Seed Police and Glimmer on your website, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I have 2 more screenplays, but I don't have those in a short novel form yet.
Okay. All right. Well, great. Now, are these characters in your latest book, Glimmer, based on truth for anybody that you know?
No, it was just in my head. Obviously, as a writer, you base everything a little bit on life's experiences, but no, there's no person that this represents. This is not somebody's story. It's just, pure fiction. I know, that's fine. I grew up in the country. I'm used to flies.
I used to blame it on my mom's hairspray.
Oh, well, I didn't have hairspray, so I don't know.
Who has hairspray anymore? I don't see many people using hairspray anymore. It's anyway. So reading from Glimmer, I had a couple questions. Actually, there's a man that here we go. I think it's in chapter 2 on page 12. There's a man in the distance seeming to watch them. The man's appearance looks strange, and a head full of stark white hair and wearing a white suit. What was that based on? Just an angel. You said the story kind of gives you the feeling of, what was the 2 movies?
Oh, I kind of liken it to It's a Wonderful Life meets The Christmas Carol.
Right.
And so it's not It's a Wonderful Life, obviously, but it's from a different perspective. It's somewhat like that.
Right. What's a real boho type? You mentioned that in chapter 1 in the beginning. So I was like, I want a real boho type. And I'm like, I've never heard that term before.
Well, it's, people that are creative and maybe wear a lot of, loose dresses and a lot of jewelry and just very artsy.
Okay, well, that's so I learned something new today, folks.
Well, I hope I'm using that correctly.
No, I'm sure you are, because a lot of writers, they come up with a lot of unique terms or a lot of unique words, and it's just like, what does she mean by that, or what is that? And that's why when I read that again, I was like, a real boho type, and I was like, okay, I never heard that term. I better ask and find out what that is.
Well, if your listeners have a different idea, I'm open.
Watchers, listeners, you're all watching. I hope there's a lot of people like my friends watching. I told you to watch. No. Anyway, so just really the story itself, Glimmer. By the way, I've read the book, and it's quite a story.
Thank you.
And the character, Zoe, or not Zoe, that's the daughter,
right?
The supposed daughter,
right?
So that's why I guess I was asking about the different characters. If you base these, and by the way, when you see this is who? This is
That's my daughter.
That's your daughter on the front cover.
Yes, her name's Gracie. Yes.
How old is she?
She's 31. I guess it's all right for me to tell them.
No. Boy, are you? If you're listening, kids, this is your mom. Just respect her. No, that's great. And so, I guess everybody has different pictures, and they use family or they use kids, and boy, I can't believe we got.
He likes me.
I don't know where that fly came from. That's anyway. Getting back to so I guess based on the screenplay, International Christian Film and Music Festival actually.
It was a selection, and then this year it was also a nomination in the Branson International Film Festival. The screenplay was.
Oh yeah. Well, my friend Deborah Watson.
Yes, she's super.
Yeah, she told me to tell you hello.
Oh, well, tell her I said hi. I think she's traveling right now.
Yeah, she's traveling right now. She said she was going to try to tune in. I told her you're going to be on the show.
Oh, okay.
And she said if I can't, because they're traveling, they're up in Michigan right now.
Right. And
they're coming back here, I think, this next week. So, because we've got a meeting on Zoom here this weekend.
Okay.
So, anyway, yeah, she's a great person.
Yes, she is. She's a super lady.
and she wrote a screenplay. She's a screenplay person herself,
Yes, yes, she is. And
and
I
that
think it's getting maybe ready to take off. So,
yes, it is. And then there's a new movie coming out that she's got Kevin Sorbo involved with.
right.
So we're hoping and praying that everything financially comes through so that we
Right.
can start film production, I think in October.
That would be great. Yes.
So
Yes, that's the big thing with film, especially small independent films, but that way you get more stories out there, is the funding. It can be tough.
oh yeah, and you know what? That's what you were going to talk to me about is fundraising.
Right.
So based on this book and based on the movie, that's how you're going to try to get the movie out there is through fundraising.
Well, we're hoping to get donors, and we're using it's called a physical sponsorship model,
Mhm.
which
I haven't heard that one yet.
well, I hadn't either, but I was doing some research, and on my website, I even have a quote from the Andrea Sporsic from the Missouri Film Office. And when you can partner with a nonprofit organization, a film project, and normally they would charge a fee, and so people's donations, people who itemize on their taxes, so we're talking about bigger donations, but that way they charge a fee, the nonprofit, but everyone who donates to the project, it qualifies for a tax deduction or possibly qualifies for a tax deduction. So it makes donations that way. People do get something from their donation. Other than just supporting a really good project, they also get something financially back. So that's the model that we're doing.
Wow, I hadn't heard that model. Excuse me, folks. Sorry. Um, I haven't heard that model yet, and that's really good. Because I've heard all the other typical models and everything,
Right.
but that was the first time I heard that one. That's why I was wondering about it.
If I'm
Go,
sorry.
no, go
If they
ahead.
go to my website, gaylaprewitt.com, it either you can access it from two different places on the film and novel projects, or there's a tab that says film funding, and I have a better definition there, and it kind of shows a little more, explains about that. And anybody, if they're interested in wanting to know more, they can contact me, they can call me or email me, and that's all on my website too.
Okay, so the phone number and everything's on your
Yes.
website.
Yes.
Is there an email or anything like that on
Yes.
website?
It's Floodwater Productions at
Mm.
outlook.com.
Okay,
But there's
Floodwater.
also an email tab on my website too. So
Okay. All right. Well, that's a good way to get in touch with her because believe me, you'll want to get in touch and get to know this young lady. She's got some powerful words in that book that
thank
really
you.
makes the story come to life. And I cut myself off on the guy with the white suit and the white hair.
Right.
Is he based on an angel or what?
Well, I don't want to give too much
Right,
away.
right,
So I kind of want him to stay mysterious, and we find out at the end.
right.
And so I guess
You have to read the book.
if you want to know more about him, that would be my suggestion. But and my inspiration for writing it was it is a sanctity of life story, and so I kind of wondered about if we had the opportunity, or women, or mother to be had the opportunity to bring a child home that they were thinking some difficult or decisions about, if they brought that child home and lived with them for 4 years, would they make those same decisions? Because the child inside is that child. They've just not had time to grow that big. All the DNA, everything is there from the moment of conception. So that was my thoughts of writing Glimmer.
Right. And I got to tell you, you might shed a few tears. I shed a few tears.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. At the beginning when I first saw the chapter 1,
Right.
chapter 1 through chapter 2, and then the reason I say tears is because
it can be intense. It's pretty intense.
From what your husband's going through and watching your wife go through this,
right.
It's gripping is what I'm going to say. It's a gripping novel.
Oh, well, thank you. But it does have a redeeming end.
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to leave people thinking it's all sad.
No, and that I'm glad you pointed that out. And no, it is. it makes you smile at the end is what
Oh,
I'm saying.
good. Oh, good.
So you tear up at the beginning, but you smile big time at the end.
Good.
So that's how. And so you talked about the inspiration, and you know what? We usually have a scripture of the day on the morning drive. So, and on my show, I think it would be appropriate today to have a scripture of the day, and that's um, Psalm 139:16.
Yes.
Your eyes saw my unformed body; all the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be.
Yes.
Wow.
And that's basically the verse I base the whole story on.
Yeah, that's
So,
what I was going to say. That story, that verse right there, kind of tells you the story, or the story of your film. By
right.
the way, these are going to be, I hope, short films soon.
Well, actually, if we, we're in the fundraising stage, it's a feature length film. It would
Okay.
be a feature length, not a short film. But
Oh,
yes,
good.
yes,
Because something like this has to be a feature. You
right.
can't really do anything with a short film with this
No.
particular project.
Now
in
we
it.
did have the privilege of making a proof of concept trailer, and it's really short. It's like a minute, I think, almost 2 minutes long, and it's also on the website. So
Okay.
that would give people kind of an idea of the feel and the quality of the production if they want to watch it.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I haven't seen the trailer, but I'm going to go home and watch the
Okay,
trailer.
I would like to know what you think when you
Yeah.
see it.
Oh boy. No, no. I'll just text you and go, we need to talk some more.
Well, and that's another thing that we're wanting to do. We're wanting to shoot this primarily, well, in Southwest Missouri, and we shot the trailer in Bolivar, Missouri, at the Bolivar City Park, Dunnigan Memorial Park. They were so
that's
gracious.
what this picture is.
Yes.
Okay.
And so the whole trailer was shot in the park, and they were very gracious to us. I live in the Bolivar area, and there's so many things that are in the book that would be really good locations. And so we're hoping to shoot a lot of it there, some of it in the Springfield area. And I just feel like there's so much talent in this area, and the people are so gracious that that's where we want to have the production.
So it looks like, from what I'm reading, a lot of these people are from Springfield. No, the owner, Ducon. In fact, Ducon,
Yes.
I met him. He and I are friends now on
Okay.
Facebook, and
He's a super guy.
yeah, he wants to know about my story.
Oh, wow.
So he, great guy. I met him at the International Film Festival,
Right.
Branson. So
Right.
and so he and I are going to keep in touch. So I was just going to say, now he's the director. So Do More Films is the name of the production company.
Of his production company.
Of his production company.
Studio 2060, which is Mike Strain.
I know him too.
Yes.
Him and his wife. Yeah.
Yes, he's producing with me and my company's Floodwater Productions. Ducon has verbally, I mean, you never know how things are going to work out, has
Right.
verbally agreed to be the director. And then we have David Watson, the director of photography, and he's very talented as well. And he has, I think, a company called High Valley Pictures, I believe.
Yes, that sounds really familiar.
Yes, and he but Ducon's film, which a lot of these people did work on and produced, and I think David was also the DP on that too. Vincent's Vow has done amazing. It's won all kinds of awards.
I knew I was going to ask you about that. Thank you for
Yes.
bringing that up. We know Debbie.
Yes.
Debbie Sutcliffe.
Yes.
Oh,
She's a nice person. I don't know her as well, but what I've got to be around her, she's a super nice
I saw
person.
Vincent's Vow at the film festival.
Yes. Okay.
Oh man, and that's where I thought I recognized you.
I am in it just
Yeah,
a
I
little
know.
bit, like maybe 5 seconds.
You're there, just a glimmer.
Yes, just a glimmer, just a little bit. So I was a news reporter, and so which wasn't a big stretch for me to do.
Did you have to study law for that?
Well, so that was very, very nice of Ducon. It was kind of a thing on my bucket list. It was getting to be in a film, so that was fun. And but yes, his film has done amazingly well. It won last year.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, COVID canceled the festival, at least in-person festival in Florida. Right. So, but they won, so they didn't really get to do a lot of the promotional stuff they normally would have. But yes, it's a really, really nice project.
Wow, you've covered quite a bit there, and I appreciate you. You did a great job today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you, folks, for joining in with us. And If you have you're watching us live, but you want to go back, you can always go to X Media Group.
On Facebook and AMG Productions on YouTube.
Okay. AMG through AMG on
AMG
Facebook.
Productions.
AG,
X Media Group.
X Media
on
Group
Facebook,
on Facebook.
and AMG Productions.
And AMG Productions
on YouTube.
on YouTube. Thank you. I'm going to get that memorized.
Sounds good. You got it down.
Yeah,
So
you know, I'll have it. You know, I just had to get it through my head. Now I'll have it in my head, and I'll be able to.
AMG Broadcasting.
AMG Broadcasting. Thank you, Johnny. Nice to see you. And coming up next is Johnny Rooster. And you do a lot better job than I do. And the Morning Mouth. And you. Oh, see, the
Wow.
rooster is in the house, and you have quite an interesting guest. He's a hippie evangelist. He calls himself a hippie evangelist, and I don't know what that's about, but tune in for that. That's going to be interesting.
I would like to meet him.
The hippie is that what you said, John? The hippie. He's a hippie evangelist.
The hippie evangelist preacher. He's
Oh,
tie-dye preacher.
peace.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're very welcome. And Gayla, I want to have you come back and talk to us more when we find out that this becomes a movie.
Okay, sounds great.
And you'll be I'll be the first in line to have you sign an autograph.
Oh,
So anyway, thank you again, folks. We love you. God loves you, and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.